Hush, little Michael, don't say a word, even though you're in the stinking turd. Wendy will try to save you from this movie that's in a stew. Exit light. Turn on the fucking light. Forgot to light this film even a little bit. Do. Oh, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, the continuation of the long-running, popular children's cartoon animated folklore fairy tale character IP turned into typical slasher, horror, whatever. It's a really long subgenre. Subgenres, though, imply the existence of dom genres. Basically, this was written and directed by Scott Chambers, who played Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, Electric, whatever the fuck, Boogaloo. And, well, this is not the worst of the, whatever subgenre I just said right there, of taking a popular character, giving it a horror spin. This is better than Fairest of Them All. This is better than Piglet. This is better than Screamboat. This is better than some other stuff. This is better than one of the Popeye horror movies that I saw this year. There were 3 Popeye horror movies released this year. I still have to get to those, if I can. But in my continuation to try to get to 338 movies released this year, I decided to check this out on Peacock, and oh boy, after the storybook opening, actually a fairly okay opening of Peter Pan basically kidnapping a child because he's going to take them to Neverland. We basically see Wendy, played by Megan Placido, who is trying to be there for her brother Michael, played by the boy that played Henry in The Pope's Exorcist. Somehow this is a more dignified role, I guess. The Pope's Exorcist wasn't very good. But, yeah, Peter is basically cursed, and whatever. He feels he's just cursed. He's got a marked up face. Also, Tinkerbell is a drug-addicted assistant that he keeps in this dilapidated house. And that's really about it right there. We get Captain Hook showing up a little bit later, and if I'm spoiling any of this, oh well, it doesn't really matter. It's one of these just slopped out horror movies that doesn't really, fucking matter beyond having a neat little poster. It's a neat little idea because the Peter Pan story actually is ripe for a horror spin. He kidnaps children, for God's sake. I mean, he does. Takes them off to a land where they will never grow up, but they never see their parents again. It's like that last episode of The Twilight Zone with the lake and everything. And if you get it, you get it. We go to about 10 and a half minutes in, and we get the title. And I will say this, Martin Portlock is at least sinking his teeth into this role and trying to have fun with it. And this is, again, better than Fairest of Them All or Cinderella's Revenge or various others that have come out in the past few years. But I can't imagine that the budget for this was very much. Whatever budget they did have basically went to blood. It didn't go to lighting. It's not about having mood. It's not about having any, cool atmosphere. I just think they didn't want to show the fact that this movie was really cheap. And that's fine, but maybe cut back on a few things so you actually can make it actually horrifying and suspenseful. Or instead of doing that, you just throw buckets of blood and whatever on your characters and essentially just make it a standard slasher fare that will be unremarkably unmemorable. Once the credits start rolling, you will struggle to remember much of any of this. Even writing notes down, I forgot some of this stuff. The concept is basically he grabs kids. It's like the Black Phone premise if it was, directed by a sea cucumber. I'm sorry, but this is really, really fucking bad. Again, not the worst that I've seen this year, not the worst that I've seen as far as the subgenre, but this is like a sub-basement genre is really what it should be, because I have yet to see one that was even halfway decent. Even the Winnie the Pooh movies, the first one in particular had at least a few pretty girls that didn't really have much to it. The second one didn't really have anything to it, despite the bigger budget. And this, it is what it is. But I'm going to get into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. There you go. I just don't really have much more to say without spoiling a few things. We see, the storybook opening about Peter being cursed. And then we see Peter in a goddamn basement, kind of Evil Dead style, and he tries to get a boy, and then he ends up killing the mother. It's still not as creepy as the guy that I found in my basement one time. I don't even have a basement, so figure that one out. Michael, he basically just wants to be treated kind of as an adult, despite the fact, I don't know how old Michael's supposed to be in this. The actor playing him, I think, is 13 or 14, so the young lad still has a long way to go before he, you know what I mean? So playing kid roles in horror movies is going to kind of be something he's going to do for a number of years. And at least they tried to make him creepy in The Pope's Exorcist, so at least he has that. And he's given more dialogue in this, and then you figure it out that the dialogue is really dog shit. Really, really dog shit. There's a little sub-story about Wendy and Ronnie possibly being a couple, but Ronnie ends up kind of leaving her on read, as the kids say. Joel is Michael's friend, and they seem to be just, happy kids that are just going to be, boyhood friends, and that's good. They don't really go anywhere with that until Joel gets captured and put in the house. And the lack of motivation for this really hurts, because Peter just essentially, mentions about his mother and stuff like that and whatever, but none of it really fucking matters because he's just kidnapping kids. So about 23 or so minutes in, he captures Michael, and then the family's going to look for him. We find out about this boy, Timmy, who was in all red, so right there he was a fucking moving target. Then there's a scene where this bus driver is trying to get Peter to move his broken down van, but then he gets killed and all the kids get killed. But not in the bus, in the woods. We know this with the bad editing. And then John saw the little kids, apparently. John, I believe, is the older brother, or the younger brother, but older than Michael. It's complicated, mainly because I don't care to dive into it. Peter basically has Tinkerbell there, and Tinkerbell's not really given much to do except, he was going to take me to Neverland, but I'm just being used as a lackey to kidnap children and look the other way. Essentially, Wendy eventually finds out that Joel got kidnapped after Joel's family gets killed, including her best friend, in a hilariously badly edited scene, by the way, where basically they just continue to just blah, 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 blah. We're just doing all this stabbing and stuff like that. It's just absolutely hilarious. But this is horrendous, is what I noted. None of this really ends up working as any kind of horror flick. It just kind of ends up being, just stuff that occurs. It's supposed to be in the vein of horror. It has the skin of one. But really, Peter is just, the grabber, just without any personality or motivation. And not that the grabber had a ton of motivation, but he had more than this. Captain Hook's in the basement, by the way. Why he's there, we don't know. Because sub-reference. And basically, he has this pixie dust that's basically heroin or crack or whatever in the goddamn needle. He gives Tinkerbell the needle basically as a way to keep her subservient to him. She ends up fighting back finally, but ends up getting stabbed and almost killed, but basically tells Wendy not to give up. She ends up getting her fingers bitten off at one point, or a couple fingers, manages to tape that up, stabs him in the neck with one of the syringes, but that doesn't work. Michael has managed to somehow call the police during all this and track the location, and then she tries choking out Peter with a bat. Michael is almost choked out, but tries to get back there. That's when her fingers get bitten off, which is kind of funny. Then she sticks her fingers in his eyes, and then we get a bat to the face where he gets his face bashed out, but seemingly is still alive, and then gets slashed again and runs off. And then they get rescued. Michael's birthday the next year, it's fine, until they get another call, and the festive music from before is playing, because they got a call before, and that's it. That is it. We are going to imply a sequel to this is necessary, as if the first one was even necessary. So that is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. It certainly was the latter, as in Nightmare. So that being said, let me know. It's F, by the way. F, just in case you didn't figure that out. Really, really fucking terrible. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin. Until we revisit Neverland again. Still, I'll take this over Hook. Happy trails to you.